Good morning and welcome, everybody. This is the very first Sunday matinee live from the Quinta. The intention is to bring you some of the news from the Quinta, some update from the Quinta Connect as a community, and welcome in particular people who are here on the land at this very moment. Just to introduce myself, I'm Stefan. I live here most of the time, and next to me is Benedict, who's joining us this week, and for a little longer. And just a little bit about the intended format. We'll have a little bit of a grounding exercise in a moment. We'll come all in. I know some of you may watch this later, some of you may watch this live. So we'll invite you to come and join this space at whatever time you're joining this space. And then we'll hand over to whoever is on the land to give an offering to everybody who's watching. And then we'll talk a little bit about what we've done, what we will do before we close the ceremony. And then for people on the land, there will be breakfast, brunch. And I hope all of you have something along those lines as well. So thank you for joining. And just to maybe start us off with a little very short grounding exercise to welcome you in this space and to appreciate where we are. So maybe during this exercise, you may want to close your eyes. You may want to just put your gaze somewhere. And just invite you to take a deep breath in and out. And just for a few seconds, listen to the sounds around you. Of course, depending where you are, you may hear nature sounds like here, you may hear birds singing. Or you may be hearing traffic noises, your neighbors. But whatever you're hearing, it basically is some form, some sound of life around you. Also just want to take this opportunity to appreciate how much life there is around you, how much nature there is around you. And so I invite you now into this room, this space which we are all sharing, no matter what noises you were hearing. I invite you to open your eyes again and come back here and join all of us, either here on the land or far, far afield, somewhere else. And before we start, and I hand over to Benedict, I just wanted to appreciate the enormous work that has been going on at the Quinta this week. We had two guests, Natalie and Benedict, and of course here. It has been a fantastic week. Lots of work done, and we'll talk about it in a minute. But first, I would like to hand over to Benedict to give an offer to the Quinta community.
Thank you very much, Stefan. And it is my great pleasure to give some kind of offering. Whatever I offer, I feel will be unworthy given how much the Quinta has given me already in the few days that I've been here. It was lovely being here with Natalie. It's wonderful still to be here with Stefan. That grounding exercise kind of really reminded me how all my time at the Quinta seems to have been an invitation to listen to the sounds and enjoy the sights of this extraordinary landscape. It feels as though the pace has been industrious but unfrantic, always allowing those opportunities for reflection and contemplation, which are so difficult to find sometimes in life, but have been really available and really valuable here. A couple of nights ago, unexpectedly, as a spontaneous act, Stefan and I drove up to the walled village on the hillside of Marvão and looked down from there towards the Quinta. And I've written a few words about that experience and about what it brought to mind and what I've been thinking about it in the last couple of days. So here are some thoughts from me on a view of the Quinta. We looked down from the walls of Marvão by night to see if we could see the Quinta lights. At first, we saw nothing, only darkness between the more aggressive glare of street lamps. In time, and with the help of a camera lens, we saw it, the honeyed glow of the main house, raising the darkness by just a few degrees and advertising refuge. On the drive back from the hillside village, I wondered about that glow, set against the bully street lamps. There was nothing sympathetic about the streetlights. They screamed and shocked the eye, making everything else unseeable. I preferred the Quinta's gentler twinkle by far. As we arrived back and made our way along the winding drive, we passed the stone circle, murmuring in gentle light. It seemed far lovelier even than the proudly lit Marvão behind us. There's something grand about the things that draw the eye from far afield and demand attention. But the beauty I prefer lies in the things and places and people which reveal themselves slowly and at closer quarters, that reward more loving and more focused attention, that satisfy a soft emerging love of detail. It made me think of my days as well as nights on the Quinta. I think the Quinta has a quality of light which is not set only by an enthusiastic sun, but by the lightness of the plant-scented air, the stretches of dappled shade beneath mimosa, and the conversation that sparks and glitters in constellations of ideas which are new to me. This is, I think, in all regards, a glowing place. And in that gentler glow, I have seen things which would otherwise have escaped my notice. I have seen and enjoyed pleasures which I would otherwise have dismissed as someone else's. Stefan has been the lightest host, and Natalie the lightest co-explorer in this place of close-ups. Queerness is, I think, perhaps an unjudgmental glow of detail, where stridently fixed categories like streetlights are extinguished and replaced with something softer and more varied and far kinder. From the walls of Marvão, the Quinta seemed to me gentle and intimate and sympathetic and queer.
Thank you. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh, it's hard to find find an easy way to get over to what have we done. Apart from obviously looking down on the Quinta.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, part of what I've done is explore the land, which has been wonderful. Stefan, you've been extremely generous. I think inviting Natalie and me to go off by ourselves into the landscape, which you know so well, was enormously generous, allowing us to find things for ourselves. But also, you know, being invited, despite the very real possibility of calamitous error, to build things, to harvest things, to be involved in that work, I have found enormously satisfying. It would never have occurred to me that I could make things which I've made this week. So thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I have to say, you know, it was a pleasure this entire week, both with you and with Natalie, and all the energy that was flying around the place, both in terms of intellectual discussion, eco-queer discussion, how we work as a community with a theory and bring it to life, and also much kind of practical things, you know, sort of beautiful things that Natalie created with the frame, for example, or sort of liberating, and we'll post them all on the website, liberating a bird cage and creating sort of wonderful spaces in nature that sort of just make you stop. And I'm noticing now you're working on gates with.
Well, yeah, and really enjoying the creative process of building the gates and then trying to reimagine them as creative interpretations of and also contributions to the landscape. But I agree, Natalie's creations have been astonishing. Her ability to see something which I think most people would think of as rubbish and recognizing in it potential for, exactly as you say, just resituating the viewer in the space that they're in so that they look at it again is amazing. She was wonderful. And as you say, the discussions have meant a great deal to me. And the sense of companionship, not only with those on the Quinta, but also those who live near the Quinta. I've met a number of people and spent quite a lot of time with them this week, who have really shown that this is becoming a community within a broader community that is loving and nurturing and alternative, which is wonderful to see.
There's a big shout out here to Heidi. I know you're probably watching at some stage, and I really, really appreciate you very much at the Quinta. Although you're not sort of staying here because you're local, I think you're always right at the heart of the Quinta. And of course, from a very practical, I'm just looking up because we've moved this meeting away. We originally intended to have it in the stone circle. It's very, very hot and very sunny. So we brought it back to the shade a little bit, and we're just behind our main or community house. And one of the great news is, and I think it's an interesting news, is that we now have hot water everywhere in community house. Before it was only in one part, and it's solar hot water, and it's a little bit like magic to me, I have to say. And it just shows you this abundance of nature, because suddenly we have this enormous amount of hot water, and it really comes out of nowhere. Sort of the heat, at least, the water comes from the well, but then it gets heated up and it's just there. It's very it just fills me with this. Every time I think about it, it kind of seems like a sort of normal thing to do, and then we kind of go like, wow, before that we were burning gas for it, and now it's just there. We're just taking nature and living with this. So yeah, I'm looking forward to next week, of course. And next week, I guess, we'll be continuing with a lot of discussion on eco-queer theory. I think this is one of the kind of themes really at the moment. We're hoping to welcome someone else on the land and start to work a little bit more. And I forgot, we actually now have a little herb garden and sort of a curiosities garden with kind of strange plants. Obviously, that's hopefully will all come and bloom and be sprouting and coming out.
It's been lovely this week watching you, Stefan, kind of working with the plants, caring for them in conditions which are difficult for plants, but the patience and the generosity and the affection that you show for all living things, including the plants, has been really moving.
I think in that sense we'll hopefully continue and have more to report next week.
Absolutely.
From right here, apart from saying that it is now getting very, very hot everywhere.
Yeah.
And the water is a little short, but I'll soldier through this. And yeah, and so if you want to join new things, we actually have a couple of things coming up really immediately. Monday at 5 o'clock, there is tea in the garden, which is a lovely place where you can connect to everybody. It's a nice place to chat. It's almost a little bit like this, just interactive. So some people will be here on the land, some people will be offsite, and we'll all come together and literally have a cup of tea or whatever drink. You might have it, maybe iced tea, of course, at the moment. There's the book club on the 25th of July coming up, which the book is Wood Square, and I forget the name of the person, but if you Google or go Wood Square, I'm sure you'll get there. So it's the 25th of July, 7:30. And there are 2 weeks coming up, which are kind of big, great new weeks. One is a food week. We have done a lot of thinking here, think about kind of, what do we do with food and how do we stop so much food being imported, being brought in, being grown out of season? How can we focus on the food that is actually there and in season? And this September, October are kind of big harvest months. And so we'll have a food week, food preservation week. I hope we then kind of work all together. So that's running from the 18th to the 25th of September. And then 2 weeks later, it's coming up a work week, which is already scheduled. And that's the autumn work week from the 2nd to the 9th of October. And those are the events. And so really, that brings us a bit to a close of this very first edition of Sunday Matinee. For me, a big thank you to everybody who's been here. Thank you, Benedict, so much.
Well, thank you, Stefan. You are an immaculate guide to this wonderful space, and it has been a great pleasure and an extraordinary education.
Thank you, and thank you for all the energy and all the amazingness you've brought here, including such an amazing contribution to the Sunday Matinee.
Thank you.
And to everybody who's joining, whenever time you've joined, thank you very much as well from here. And I'll hope to see you next Sunday, if not before, at the Tea in the Garden on Monday. From here, thank you very much. Bye-bye.